Well, I'm thinking I need to have a plan B, so in case Ahmed don't go through, preparing the draft.
Yeah. And I think it was important that you communicated that to the R2F attaché then about the collaborative effort. Because there are enough people, you understand, there's 10 times at least the people in TMOA who have disagreed entirely and completely with TMOA. And it's a matter of coordinating the efforts to clarify and to substantiate the truth. I think it's important and it's vital that even those who are still gun-hold, particularly since they are without clear judgment of why they're gun-hold, at least give them the opportunity to join the platform. At least give them the opportunity to see the evidence, the proofs. The masses that are all saying the same thing about the fraudulence and the baseless assertions by this group and the founder Mubarak Jilani. And as you very well know, it's not just the TMOA dietizing, but it is all over these, as the youth said today, they spoke clearly. They are utilizing liberalism to inject the character or to inject it into the atmosphere, even more so. This is rebelling against the laws of Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. So this has to be made abundantly evident and clear, so that at least those who are seeking the truth will be able to find it and transition on into and substantiate the ban of the Shahadatu wa la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammad Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Today was a very, subhanallah, Friday, very eventful and pious day. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen,
So tell me, what's the liberalism?
Well, and what you said, this is the first, so it's basically, what the declaration said earlier on in 2021, that you're utilizing colonial imperialism, okay, Tubabi. It was back then known as that. So if you say that, but he actually did it on his own, and he said it's basically taking, Western ideologies and injecting them, more and more as possible into into our Muslim communities. To where now, obviously, everybody wants to be white because white is superior. So they think. Everybody wants to have more of, what this world offers, what this life offers. Everybody is focused on that. So and this is the backwardsness in the Muslims compared to the goodness in the non-Muslims. The goodness in the non-Muslims is that at least they practice non-Muslimhood. We're non-Muslims, we don't believe, so this is what we're practicing. And they really, they really love it. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَمِنَ النَّاسِ مَنْ يَتَّخِذُ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ أَنْدَادًا يُحِبُّونَهُمْ كَحُبِّ اللَّهِ. Okay, so this is the problem there. And the Muslims who say that they're Muslim and they believe in Allah and they believe in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, they say that, but they're living more and more and more as non-Muslims. So they're saying one thing, but they're living according to the standards of non-Muslims, according to the non-Muslim ideology and indoctrination. And again, if you look at it, for how many decades you've had Muslim children going to public school, and when they go, they swear the oath of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and for the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, for liberty, whatever. So they've been growing up under that. Today, anyone who has been in that school system for enough time will know that. But the thing is that not only are they taking that home to parents, again, who do not, who have not lived in America long enough, or maybe they just came and focused on working. They don't have time for the kids, so now the kids know all of the buttons, and they don't know. The kid knows all the language, they don't know. It's that type of, and the language that the kid is using is the one that lied to them, about the true history of the United States and, what really is happening on Capitol Hill, or in fact, just keeping them, into what you may consider as, I don't know, Roman or I don't know. It's an ideology that encourages, one to submit to capitalism. That's all. Liberalism, yeah, it teaches one, types of societies, and basically comes to the conclusion that capitalism is really where you need to be, is really what you need to be about if you want to make it in this world. That's it, brother, okay? So, I mean, I don't think that's the biggest problem. Again, I'm going to say that the biggest problem is the fact that people know there's an issue, or, the parties know that there's the problem, and they're not willing to do anything about it. Or they're willing, but they're not ready to, or they're ready, but they're not willing, or they're willing and ready, but they don't know what to do. It's all an issue. It's all the same. I think, yeah, there are some people who are not familiar yet, particularly there are a lot of youth, but then there are a lot of youth who do know, and then somebody who just came here was here for 3 years, and then they make this, assert, well, they know this. And again, it's something that we had said 2 years ago. That's not the problem. Problem is they've only been here for 3 years. And they're very young. I mean, I don't think he was older than 22 or 20. I don't even think he was a good 18. It's hard for me to say. I did not ask his age, but, that's not the only issue. I mean, just look at all the issues: the lack of unity, the segregation, the racism, the nepotism, the corruption that's been going on, and the list goes on and on and on. But the separation is horrible. I mean, how can you say that you are all Muslim? However, you can never come together even one day throughout the entire year. That's horrible. I mean, that's I don't know what kind of Islam is that. And the problem again is they're forceful. They're adamant, they're stubborn in keeping, what they've inherited from their forefathers, like Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Jalla Jalalu. But I think that's the biggest problem, where people do not want to do anything, or they don't even hate it in their hearts. They say that, we're, as long as we're good people, we're okay. But there's a difference between being good and being righteous. And being righteous does not mean that you understand something, and if it's true, you keep quiet about it and silent about it. If it's false, you're good. But that's not being righteous. Being righteous, you have to speak up for the truth and support and aid it and assist those who are involved in substantiating the truth. You have a responsibility, because the truth is Allah Jalla Jalaluhu. And Allah says there's nothing beyond the truth than falsehood. The one who turns their backs on the truth, they turn their back on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And what are they substantiating? Falsehood after that. Darkness and more, darkness. So, I mean, that's where they're all, that's where the Iblisis are. I mean, I didn't put them there. This is what the Quran says. The Quranic revolution was called on. Whomsoever took it well, and whomsoever rejected it, I mean, they're seeing the consequences of it today. But this is post-Mubahala, brother, And I think, again, speaking to the R2F attaché there was very vital. And I think we will work together. I think it's important, that we do something that is going to, you understand, make the pillar, evident that this is a serious matter. It's clear now. The United States themselves, the officials of the United States, documentation put this man as a CIA operative. They did that, or at least one directly associated with a CIA operative. They did that on American soil just as he's arriving here. He is indirectly connected to the CIA. And we're going through these 4-hour videos that TMOA has put up to show how clear and cut and knowledgeable he was with all of his assertions about meeting Imam al-Mahdi, and he has a job, and Imam Mahdi his job is greater than Imam Mahdi's job, and the fact that he turns into his spiritual side, you got to present yourself in front of him, or he can come into your house and he sees everything and knows everything that is going on, and him trying to read the Arabic, and then the Arabic is still, he's still not explaining it. He just learns one word and then starts going on and on and on about that. Everything that he asserts, he takes people to Jannah and brings them back. And I mean, the man goes on, and I tell you, as I'm dissecting this thing, the falsehood is just like, oh, we got to, it's like, subhanAllah, I kid you not. Every day at least 3 false things, like 3 evidence, 3 proofs, that he's stating his own self, like it's on video, evident, and how he's quoting what Sufia is, and the Talibs. This is what the Talibs practice, but why would the Talibs not be given the directive from you to practice it, or why do you have to say that this is the way the Talibs do it? This is already evident. The Shaykh gives directives. And it says, you Talibs, you do it this way. This is exactly the way that it is to be done. This is the way that I received it from my sheikh, and his sheikh, and his sheikh, and this is it. But on top of all of that, this man talks about you have to be able to pray your 5 daily prayers and say all your dhikr and read your Holy Quran. And I assure you, not a single one of this man's quote-unquote followers who have a 9-to-5 job are able to do any of that. Not a single one. Not to say they're not able to do it, but clearly, those of us who know enough can definitely say, you understand, that you are trying to put something on people that they are not able to bear. And I know personally, those who have spoken to them, they're still in the Jamaat, they're still with TMOA. And they're saying that, yeah, we spoke to him, and when he asked us if we were doing our dhikr, our muamalats, we told him no, we couldn't do that. And that's true. The things that he's saying on that, we just have to go through it. It's going to be in a couple of days. But, there are enough people who are interested in knowing the truth, I think, at this point. And you're only talking about 2,000, TMOA members. You can't, you at least have 20,000 people, saying opposite of what TMOA is saying, who have been involved somehow or another with TMOA. The problem, again, is that majority of people, whether they are thinking about leaving, whether they're watching from outside in, or whether they have even already left, they don't want to have anything to do with any, objection, simply because of the fact that it at that scale, at that level, it has not been done before. Okay, and some will say, I never want to have anything to do with anything that has to do with anything of TMOA. So that's why I wouldn't, that's why I'm against it, So you have different people, giving different reasons as to why. And then there are a lot of people trying to hide, they know that, a lot of people know the truth and they're trying to hide it. There's a lot of that going on too, hypocrisy and a lot of stupidity and a lot of, I don't want to say stupidity, but naivety. A lot of people are naively just submitting, and they've naively been submitting. So to, undo that and to, it's really difficult for people. It's a psychological issue, And then a lot of people are saying, okay, so what are we going to go to if we leave this? There's a lot of fear involved. And then you take into the, the element of magic and sorcery involved. You really do have, some issues you gotta break through. And it's definitely going to take, a lot of patience. But certainly, a lot of coordinative, measures as well. And I think this time, from everything that we've been able to gather, intelligence-wise, I mean, it is a perfect move, I would say. And so would anybody who looked at it from the same angle. They would see the relevance and the appropriation of force here, the appropriate force. Not talking about the Starbucks brigade either. Just, you know. So,
Yeah.
but again, if we've, I think Allah, I believe this is what I know. So I think, I believe, I know with absolute certainty. And as I mentioned, earlier, R2F, they did a very good job when it comes to when it came to disclosing the realities of the situation. A lot of people, out of 40 some odd, interactions with current and past TMLA members, majority or minority who have relieved or been relieved of TMLA recently as well, they all say the same thing, is that, R2F really, listening to and following the R2F show. But again, the laughter, jokey, and as R2F stated today, R2F said that, and rightfully so, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make mockery of those, who associate with him. And that's true. There's no denying of that. And he says so in the Quran, there's no denying of that. However, and it's very important that you add there, however, there is a way that he says that to take place on this earth. And you have to know what that is if you really say you're abiding by Quran. And you realize that he also says he will humiliate them. He also says he will punish them. He will subdue them. And that this was done during the Prophet ﷺ's time. The Prophet ﷺ and his companions, through their hands, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala subdued the mushrikeens and belittled them through their hands. So you have to know the history. You have to know the guidance that the Quran is saying. You can't just jump up and say, okay, now it's time to make mockery, everybody. And where are you getting your way of making that from? Because if it's not from the Quran, it is not from Jalla Jalalu. It does not have his authority, his submission, that he's, authorized this type of, execution means or executive, order. So, that's why we have, again, statements from the various components of the junta, And I feel like, alhamdulillah, we're going, and it was good. It was good that you decided to pick up the phone and attempt out. And I think that's a very important thing, A lot of times when we have our differences, it's very difficult for us to reach out to one another, And I think people, particularly Muslims, have to understand that you only have 3 days when you cut off relations with another Muslim family, brother, whoever, sister. You only have 3 days to make up with them. If you do not, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's curse is upon the one who did that unjustly, They have no right to cut off the ties of kinship. So this is the issue. But, people say that they are Muslims and don't ever talk to me ever again. And, they hold their grudge. And you cannot have Islam if you have hate for someone in your heart. You're not allowed to have hate for another human being in your heart. Even the enemy, You're not allowed to hate them. You're allowed to hate their actions. You're allowed to hate their beliefs. But to hate the individual, the human being, no. You're not allowed to do that. That is not Islam. Somebody says, I have Islam, but I hate, my cousin. I hate my cousin's cousins, my cousin's wife. I hate, my ex-husband or whatever. This is all, this is all breaking the laws of Allah. All of it. Whether you broke the ties or whether you harbor hate for somebody else unjustly, it's not right. You want Allah's mercy, but you're hating somebody else unjustly. They're Muslim like you. In a lot of cases, you say you're Muslim and they're also Muslim. And you hate them, you're hating another Muslim. Where does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, maybe they're a better Muslim than you. How do you know? Right? Maybe they're a better Muslim than me, right? Why would you be hating another Muslim is the question. And you say you have Islam. See?